In my opinion, it's very easy to get focused on a particular style of hunting or a specific species in Call of the Wild and kind of forget about other things and miss out on potentially cool hunts. And one of the best ways that I think you can kind of get away from that is asking someone else to choose what you're hunting or what map or what weapon, or potentially choose all of those things. And in my case, without a particular idea today, I asked Kyla, so with her recommendation, we're out here on Te Awaroa with nothing but the 243, and we're going to be mostly hunting red deer at night and a little bit in the evening. Te Awaroa is a really good red deer map, but their drink time I believe is 1800 to 2100, something like that, so mostly in the dark. But I think it's going to be interesting. We do most of our red deer hunting on Parquet and on Quattros, so a lot of it's going to be untouched, and who knows, there might be something good out here waiting on us. Now, of course, we had the night vision scope on the 243 earlier, but as it is still technically light out, I went ahead and threw the Ascent, basically starting scope, on the 243 for now, and we actually managed to make that hard shot. But just because the night vision scope is 1 to 4 power, and just to throw a little bit more of a challenge into this video, we have the starting scope, same power, just going to be a little bit more interesting, I think, even for the daylight shots. But I mean, level 6 red deer, at about 100 meters, 94.65 there, heart and single lung with the 243 and starting scope, and missed gold by about 9 there, but I think that was a good way to start, and especially because we're going to have to somewhat get used to dealing with the lack of zoom on the scopes and potentially just longer shots. I think that was a good opportunity to practice a little. While the wind has definitely not been on our side so far yet again, we have a red deer directly downwind of us, this time a level 7. We can kind of try to go for the same thing. I can already see how that is going to be an issue though. We managed to make that shot. So something that I've pretty much never done any of is night hunting with at least this particular scope. And we have the night vision scope, so maybe it's going to be okay. But the amount of glare from that spotting outline was just ridiculous. So if the night vision scope doesn't make that better, we may actually want to turn off the animal spotting outline, and I really do like to have it for videos if we shoot through brush or anything like that. I think it makes it easier to see like exactly what's going on, especially if you're watching on like a mobile device or something. But we'll kind of have to see what is going to happen. Like I said, maybe the night vision scope is going to reduce that, but especially like at that kind of range where it's taking up that big of a percentage of the scope, it just ends up making it so tough to actually see what's going on. But yet again, we did make our heart shot, single lung and heart again, 117 meters that time. I really didn't even know if we'd be able to do that, especially with the starting scope, but that hasn't been too big a factor yet. Well, it may not be a diamond or a rare, but in fact that is a level 2 red deer stag. I thought it was going to be a 3. I think 2 is as low a level as they can get, and that's definitely one that we have to go for. So it's just kind of hitting 1900. And I did go ahead and put the night vision scope on the 243, so we'll sort of see what we can do here. It looked like for a second he was going to stop. I don't actually have the 22, so we can't go for that strategy to make them stop. And just by instinct, by the way, I zoom out after taking a shot like that to try to get an idea of where they're going, but when the scope is already a max of 4 power, that kind of was unnecessary. I do have to say he is not going down, so evidently that wasn't a lung hit. We'll have to see what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to try to come back. We can kind of watch these guys and get an idea. If they come back, which maybe that's what this one is doing, they were all in the same herd, so the level 2 should come back as well, but if they don't, that could mean this is going to be difficult. Just to kind of show it, they're all coming back here, including the wounded one. I guess he's not wounded badly though, he's not even dropping any health. I wonder if we misranged that, or like what actually happened. I believe they all turned back around because one of them up front here went to alert. Although, now I'm not so sure. While we are close to them, let's kind of run and alert them then, because we could have shot into the air with the 22, but in this case that wasn't going to work. I am a little bit confused. We finally got him alert here. I don't even know. There was an opportunity in there to get a hard shot, and we managed. But we didn't miss hitting him in the skull by much, and obviously, I mean, it's a 2, so it doesn't really matter, but we couldn't have shot him a 3rd time and gotten all the harvest checks, so we're still good. he's still going to be a bronze or whatever he would be. But I believe this is the lowest level that red deer can be, since they got true racks, or at least red deer stags. Since they got true racks, I don't think stags can any longer be level 1s. Looks like we shot under the front of the skull there, actually by a decent amount, so we might have had a little more room than I thought, but a 51 scoring bronze where silver is 90, so quite a lot of room there, but we actually shot him not too badly, just in the shoulder blade, let him a little bit too much because he was kind of moving forward, I think. Or maybe he had stopped, so a little further back might have been good, but yeah, nice to get a interesting red deer. Anyway, maybe one for the Hall of Shame. I've never been to this particular lake for red deer, and as it turns out, it's a pretty good one for them. There's another big 7 there, and I'm curious if there's even more like across the way, because this is a really good lake for fallow deer, and a lot of times they're on kind of like this side as well, as Rascal's just standing there right in our the center of the reticle. But we're gonna go ahead and get at level 7 first, and then we'll scoot across and see if there are any others. So 150 meters with the 243. Let's not shoot it in the shoulder. I think that's going to be just fine, and quite honestly, I don't know if I'm carrying the soft point rounds for the 243, but especially shots like that, it might be smart to bring them. So we see his health is dropping. We did get him. It's just going to take some time for him to go down, and so far we've seen red deer go back to their zones a couple of times. Any that were maybe close to us here will have spooked from that shot, so we'll just kind of slowly go off and track him and then check back on the other side. I would actually say for a red deer shot with the 243, this guy didn't make it all that far. I mean, just a single lung shot there at 139, a 211 score, so slowly getting better and better. But, I mean, you can see where he was when we shot him. Less than 200 meters? That's not bad for a pretty underpowered caliber, and I'm not sure if I did finish that thought, but broadside red deer shot with the 243 soft one bullets, if we had them, would probably be better. Well, it turns out both of the lakes in this area are just evidently incredible for red deer. I don't see any big ones here yet, although kind of the way that fallow deer work, there would be some kind of over on this side as well. I don't see any red deer there, and maybe that's not all that surprising considering they're all kind of clustered into this one spot. But looking at the sizes and score estimates, I think that's the one to go for. And while we kind of get a little closer for the 243, this is the lake that we're working with now, and we just came from the one down here with the waypoint. If you haven't checked them out, definitely give them a look. I mentioned Kyla kind of came up with the idea for this hunt. These lakes were her recommendation as well, and I can clearly see why, as, I mean, between the two of them, there had to be 10, 12 stags, but this is kind of the angle that we've done best with, kind of quartering to around 150. And again, we got that hard shot in there. That seems to be the ideal way to kind of take them out with the 243, and we haven't really had that issue with the glare from the spotting outline, so I guess the night scope or whatever it is about nighttime makes it less of a big deal, and I'm glad we can keep that on. I think it, especially hunting at night, just makes it a lot easier for everyone to see exactly what's going on here. By the way, there are actually a couple over there nervous, so I'm not sure if the trees were hiding them or maybe we spooked them just kind of running down, but even more at this lake than we even thought. But another 172-ish scoring red deer, another single lung hard shot, and honestly I'm not even sure where we're gonna go from here. The last couple of lakes had so many stags. I think one spot that I would maybe like to check is up here. This is one of the first lakes I ever shot a level 9 red deer on Te Awaroa. I'm not so sure we even have a diamond from this map, but the one that I'm referring to was a troll, and I do remember this lake being pretty good, and I don't even know if we've been here in single player, so I think it's worth a look. Well, not exactly surprising, but another level 7 red deer, and they've all kind of been in that 210 to 240 range. This one, though, is at least a little bit different in the fact that it is quite uneven, and not exactly my favorite looking rack, but I want to try like a neck shot. I keep doing that, where I'm just by instinct zooming the scope out so we can see what's going on, but we got the neck shot, and it's a different kind of thing when you're zoomed into 16 times with the Argus scope, trying to hit something that's a couple of pixels wide, versus 4 times with the, what is this called, Gen 0 something, night vision scope. Trying to make that shot, I thought would be a little more challenging, and we managed to do it, but I didn't like it. I think if we were to have that situation presented again, I'd probably prefer to go for like a hard shot or something a little safer. It just seems like it's too easy to have that go wrong. So we'll kind of see what happened, but I'm glad that we aren't tracking a red deer right now. It is quite an interesting rack, and yeah, we got pretty much dead center in the neck bone there. In fact, is that upper and lower neck? Or lower and middle neck, in fact. I guess upper would be this little bit right here, but a 189 score despite the crazy looking antlers. And we are actually hitting the end of their drink time, and I'm not sure, I think they do drink again at night, but we'll probably go back to 1800, do a little more kind of hunting in the daylight, and maybe try, I don't know if there's any around this lake, I think maybe a few, but some of the stuff over on the west side we haven't checked yet. I would say it's a bit unfortunate. We're kind of just finding our first herd of red deer here, and we're into pretty much just passing 1900, so missed out on the opportunity for a bit of daylight hunting again. I guess this red deer is just walking down to his zone now. I wanted to look over the hill because I remember in the past kind of seeing some red deer drinking down on this side, but not seeing much of that going on, so we'll go ahead and try to get this level 7. I actually didn't even expect him to be a 7. That's around 230 meters, so I just think this is going to be interesting. We're best steering for 300. We can spot him. And then, man, I don't know, that might be shoulder blade. I wanted to keep it a little bit low because it wasn't quite where we'd want to be. But he's so far away, even if we got a lung, it's going to take a bit for that to start to drop on the health. But, it is going down. He might run for 500 meters, but I do think we got him. Well, evidently, all we had to do was go a little bit farther, and there are a bunch more red deer out here, including that level 8 that goes all the way up to 269 on the estimate, so we're still on our way around to go and get that 7. But in the meantime, we definitely should go ahead and try to get that guy. That's the rack that is usually an 8 or a troll level 9, but it's a little bit wider, I think, so I wonder how he's actually going to score. There's a little bit of a gap, I think, to try to go for a frontal heart shot, so we'll attempt it. I did it again with the zooming out thing, and it looks like we actually did get into the heart, so easy track on that one. There actually are even more over here somewhere, but just a couple of level 6s, so I don't think we're going to bother with them. But I do want to see, like I said, this guy seems a little bit wide, so might be a bit higher scoring than that rack usually is. Can kind of grab him on our way by here, 232.2. I would say for 225 kg that is a very high scoring red deer. Again, it's heart and single lung pretty much every time we heart shot them, we get that single lung shot as well. It's kind of interesting, I've never noticed like the ridges in these antlers other than in the dark. It might just be sort of the x-ray view, but not a bad size stag, that's our best one thus far. I still have to go and grab the 7, and then I'm not really sure, we might go up this side or something until the end of their drink time again. But it's been nice to see as many red deer as we have, and so far the 243 has certainly been a challenge, but it's done well. I'm pretty sure our 7 actually was on its way back. You can see like there on the hunter mate, that little green icon is where we last spotted him, and that's farther away from where we shot him than he is now, and of course he's facing back where we actually shot him at, so he must have been starting to come back. That's actually a silver level 7, which is kind of a rarity, but yeah, just kind of behind the shoulder blade. Not sure if that made a difference. 225 meter lung shot though with the 243 and starter scope. I think Rascal wants to be in this video, so we'll praise him for saying whatever he had to say there, but pretty pleased with the 243's performance yet again. And yeah, we have a little bit of time here, so we might as well go and at least give other areas a try. I think there can be red deer down here, so we'll try it. Worst case scenario, we won't find any, and you know, not to go there in the future, I guess. And as a pretty much last-ditch effort here, we're trying a spot that I've really only had success with chamois in the past, and actually our first level 7 that's not in the max weight range, but the wind is yet again kind of messing with our hunt. I saw his state change there. I assume it went to fleeing. I kind of looked away and just saw the difference, so I hope we got a lung. In fact, well, that's not going to help us if he turns. Somehow we hit that when he turned. I'm so confused as to how that actually hit him. His health was dropping, so I think the first shot was a lung, but it kind of messed with the whole thing. He was that alarmed. I I'm pretty sure he's gonna flee, and we just went for that shot. We are almost at the end of their drink time, and I wasn't entirely certain that he was going to come back. I still don't see hunting pressure, although any second I assume it's going to pop up, unless maybe that wasn't a lung hit. I mean, that certainly is vital blood. Now we do have some hunting pressure, so he must have gotten pretty far, especially for the fact that he was hit twice. But I think that'll be a good way to sort of wrap up here. So what I want to know is, where actually did we hit this guy on the second shot? First one was into a lung. Second shot, I guess just sort of hit him in the neck. If that was a little further back and a little higher, it would have been just an instant drop as he was running away. But a 187 gold, we actually shot a good number of gold red deer today. And to go back to what we were talking about at the beginning, because obviously we didn't shoot any rares or any diamonds or anything like that, but we got to find a number of really good spots for red deer, and in the end, I don't know how many total we shot, but it would have been quite a few. If we go to the correct thing here, a good 8 or 9 red deer. That'll be decent for respawns, and obviously, you know, had we brought a bigger gun, and if we were doing something more along the lines of getting respawns instead of kind of working on a challenge, we definitely could have gotten even more, and who knows, even from that amount, there might be something good waiting on us next time. So doing this kind of thing where it's just something different that we don't usually do, it definitely can be beneficial. So I want to thank Kyla for the idea today, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.